Coach Key, you're pulling double duty. So you're coaching and you're doing IT.
Yeah.
You're the tech guy there as well. When it comes to Georgia Tech, you are literally doing the tech.
Literally.
Literally.
No,
Okay.
so we had a bunch of official visits this weekend. Like, high school kids come in, had like 16 kids and their families. And on Saturday night, we bring the parents over to my house. And then on Sunday, we bring the parents and the kids over, breakfast. They play pool, play in the backyard, play games. All that. It gives me like kind of a personal touch of my house where I live. I sit here in my home office, and like the staff's been grinding for like 11 days. So like yesterday they were exhausted. So I gave them the day out of the office today, let everybody work from home. I've got a home office. Well, when you have 60 people in your house, you never know who might come in and like play around with your computer and your stuff. It was all jacked up. I walked down here, I'm like, great.
Well, first things first, Coach Key, thanks so much for making time out of your schedule to chat to us, because I'm guessing a couple of months out at the start of the season, things must be hotting up just a little bit right now for you.
Yeah, they are. It's a heavy recruiting time for us right now. High school camps, we've had to this point probably about 1,500 high school kids on campus over the last 2 weeks. We probably got another 1,500 to 2,000 more over the next 2 weeks. We have 25 high school teams coming in tomorrow morning, starting at 7:30 a.m. So rocking and rolling. Our team, our current team is working out 5 days a week. Actually, 5 days a week, and then doing some other things on Saturdays, team bonding activities. Coaching staff will, in about 2 weeks from now, I'll give the coaching staff a few weeks off, and then we'll come back in, and July 24th will be the first day of practice, ready to go there and see y'all.
Ready to roll. Well, look, no pressure straight off the bat, Coach, but we caught up with Coach Norvell a couple of weeks ago, and it was a great chat. I got to say, it was a great chat. So I want to mention that just to play on your competitive spirit just a little bit. No pressure whatsoever. I just want to throw that out there from the get-go.
Did Mike laugh any? I mean, did he have some fun with y'all?
Yeah, Mike, Ben, we love Mike.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're like
relax
best mates now.
I mean, well, then that's a challenge.
It is. We're laying down the gauntlet right now. I'm really interested in the team bonding stuff. Let's talk about that, because I think we need a bit of that on the NC show, Ben. I think we need to.
No, we don't. We
definitely need a bit of that. I know proper Mike would love that. So what kind of team bonding are we talking about, Coach?
Well, I mean, y'all are like remote right now. You're like it's like COVID times. You guys are
true.
Separate. So on Wednesday nights for an hour, our team gets together and we have a thing we call Champions Mindset. And they get together, they break off into small teams, small groups. They have questions and projects and different things about each other, where they kind of break each other down, really get to know each other on a personal level. Personal questions about leadership and just what you like to do day to day, and what it does over a 10-week period. It really it tears them down week by week, and really gets them in a vulnerable position where they're very exposed to all their weaknesses and their fears and those things. And then the second half we build it back up, and it really allows the team to get to know each other. And when you're playing the game of football and you're in the fourth quarter and you've got to rely on that person next to you and you're dog tired, and you want to have been through some things. And it's not always the hard physical work. It's also the mental part that we really pour into our guys.
Yeah, that is fascinating. It's something I want to drill down on your journey. Yeah, particularly as a head coach, having such a close affinity with the college, but having had time away as well, of course, where you worked under Nick Saban, right? One of the all-time greats. And coming back in and taking the reins from interim to taking the head coaching role and looking at shaping the organization, the mentality, the philosophy that you want to see across the whole campus, across the whole team. How did you go about approaching that? How did you borrow from experiences you had from great coaches you worked with, but put your own stamp on that? Tell us about that part of the journey for you.
Yeah, I think that's the challenge of becoming of any leader. In any leadership position, you've got to take the experiences you've had in your life, the things you've learned in your life. But when you see failure in leadership positions, a lot of times people are trying to be someone else other than themselves. You've got to take experiences, you've got to take lessons learned, and you've got to let them become your own. You've got to be comfortable in your own skin, and that's a I know it's kind of a cliche term, but you can't be afraid what people think about you, what people say about you. You can't try to emulate someone else 100%. You've got to be your own person. And I mean, just talking about the mental training and the bonding type things of a team. A lot of that is driven from Nick. You know, Coach Saban was one of the first ones to really get into the mindset training of the player, and that was something I've taken from him, put my own kind of turn and spin on it. But at the end of the day, there's really four things in our program we try to get across every day, and that's on the football field, off the football field. You know, it's toughness, mental toughness and physical toughness. It's discipline. You've got to be disciplined in all areas of life, whether it's from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. The commitment to yourself and commitment to the team, and then, you know, ability to go execute, the execution. And execution is not, you know, just going and, you know, doing what you're supposed to do. Execution is having confidence to go make a play, having confidence to go do well on an exam, having confidence to go meet someone that you have never met and carry on a conversation with them and develop a relationship. That's execution to me. So those four pillars are really what we strive every day to bring to our players.
You know, that's really interesting, the way you said about toughness and confidence, because when I think of toughness and I think of Georgia Tech right now, I think of how tough that schedule looks. You look like you've got one of the toughest schedules in the entire nation. It looks absolutely brutal. It's a gauntlet. It's a murderer's row. What do you do to make sure that the players stay positive? Like if you lose a couple of tough games close in a row, how do you get those young men back up so that it doesn't kind of get out of control? Because when you're facing another good team the week after, it's got to be difficult.
Well, a couple of things there. First off, Ben, that was like a very half empty, not half full question. You know, that's
yeah, exactly.
That's like a half empty.
Right.
Half empty pint of Guinness. That is a half empty pint of Guinness.
We don't want to see any of those in Dublin when you're overcoached, by the way. I'm with you on that 100%. He's like, I mean, that's his first question as well. Talks at murderer's row. He dropped, I mean, running the gauntlet.
Well, the reason I say that is because regardless of externally what people think about a schedule, they think about an opponent, right? Everything we do, it's internal. And there's a saying that I have, and I live by every single day. It's be where your feet are. All right. You can't do anything about what's happened in the past. You can't do anything about the future. Right. Well, people worry about it, and you know, and they get caught up in this, and they develop anxiety and stress and all these things in their life. Well, you know, you can't do anything about the past but learn from it, and you can't do anything about the future except for prepare for it. So to stay in the moment and be where your feet are and prepare and work as hard as you can every single day, right? That's how you get the outcome that you want. Right. We do not believe in, you know, the challenge every single game. We don't look at the scoreboard, right? We don't look at who the opponent is, right? They're faceless opponents. I mean, we compete against ourselves every single day to be the best versions of ourselves as we can at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, that is interesting, because you hear that a lot, I guess, in different sports. The concentrate on the moment. You can't do anything about what's happened in the past.
Man, it's hard.
It's hard. Exactly. Yeah. It's one thing saying it, another thing executing it, and getting all of your team to believe in that as well. That must be the hard bit, the execution part of that, particularly when they're young and they're you know, sure, they've got storied high school careers behind them, but you're not dealing with 8-year NFL vets that have, you know, been around the block a lot. Some of them, it's all very new to them, that kind of adversity, right?
Yeah, it is. And, you know, you want people to experience adversity. You know, adversity is what shapes and molds us as human beings. And, you know, all the experiences that we have in our life make us who we are, individual. Adversity is a big part of that. Right? Learning how to deal with adversity, learning how to go through adversity. Look, you know, you don't just stand up and be in a position of leadership or become a head coach, right? If everything's been all rosy and good your whole life, right? It's the hard times that make us who we are. It's the conflict within the organization, right, that allows us to really let our guard down and be open and really have honest conversations, you know, to come up with the best plan. So, you know, we look at adversity right square in the face and welcome it.
Yeah, thinking about some of those top high school recruits, and you'll have had a lot of them around you recently. The state of Georgia obviously has an incredible amount of football talent when it comes to high school football, and so many players in the NFL were born in Georgia. you go back, say, 30 years, and it would be a lot easier for Georgia Tech to keep those players in state. But nowadays, with a combination of technology, TV deals, and all sorts of things, it's easier for coaches nationwide. You have to recruit nationally now, right? So many more universities are coming into Georgia to try and take those players away. How hard is it, and how important is it to keep local players in Georgia coming to Georgia Tech?
Yeah, well, we look at when we recruit, we look at the state of Georgia in two different ways, right? We have the state of Atlanta, and then we have the state of Georgia, two separate areas, separate recruiters that have those areas, because Atlanta is such a massive city, but it's also so dense and rich in talent, in football talent. So, we're always going to start in our backyard. I can throw a football and hit 25, 30 high school players that could end up being, all conference, all American type guys. So we're going to start in our backyard. Then we're going to work out into Georgia, kind of the 5-hour radius around campus, around the city of Atlanta, which extends us into, the northern part of Florida, South Carolina, Alabama, Louisiana, and really, Tennessee, really hitting those areas hard. And then from there, we reach out nationally. And, we had a couple of guys this weekend from New York City that were down, metropolitan areas. We have a commit from kind of the Midwest right now. So, Georgia Tech's a national brand. I mean, the GT you see behind me that I wear so proudly, I mean, that's recognized everywhere. There's a lot of places that might have an animal as a mascot, or a fancy little slogan, whatever it is, but that could be a high school team, to be a college, be professional. We don't know. I mean, it could be a bird, an animal, whatever. Right. Well, GT is a national brand. It's a national logo, and it's recognized everywhere. So we do have the ability to reach out and be a national product when it comes to recruiting.
And I guess international now, you can stamp that up with a Dublin trip. Let's talk about that in a bit more detail. When you first found out you were coming to Ireland, coming to Dublin, what were the first thoughts that went through your mind, Coach?
Well, I played over there 10 years ago with UCF. I was on staff at UCF. We played Penn State. George O'Leary, who's the head coach, who's a mentor of mine to this day. So when I first heard we're coming over here, my first thought was avenging the loss that we had 10 years ago. We got beat.
Right.
We got beat on a field goal, the last play of the game, and it's not a fun way to experience a trip to a wonderful country, wonderful city.
Still hurts. So it's clearly, and that's right front and center. You're still feeling that.
Very much so.
Love that. I love that. The first thing, right? Payback first. Then after that, what were you thinking? Because I guess in the role that you have now, with all the responsibility, it must be such an exciting thing to share that with your players and your wider staff, the adventure, the trip. I mean, for a lot of the people involved, it's going to be one of those moments in their life they're never going to forget. For pretty much for everyone involved, it will be that, won't it?
Dublin is an unbelievable city. Ireland it's such a beautiful, beautiful country, right? This will be the third trip I've taken over there, once with a team, and then we went over there a couple months ago with my wife and our athletic director and his wife. What a wonderful, wonderful country, wonderful culture, wonderful people, very like-minded people. Is really our entire program. It's a tough, gritty, blue-collar, no-nonsense culture. I mean, I love it. I love everything about the country. The beauty of the countryside. We drove out to the coast. I want our guys to be able to understand that the world is a lot bigger than the bubble that they live in. I want them to see those things. Right? But like I said, we're coming over there on a business trip to play a football game. It's the opening game of the season. We have a really, really good football team. I believe that we're going to be able to come out and compete with anybody on our schedule. That's our job, is to go out and be the absolute best team we can be with the resources we're given, and go compete every game. And that's what makes it fun, right? To me, the fun is being able to play the game we all love and go and compete against a really good opponent in Florida State. And I know Mike works just as hard as I do at trying to put his program in a position to be competitive every single week. But to experience that on such hallowed grounds of in a different country, and in a stadium that has so much history, even every week of who plays on those fields, and it's a pretty cool thing. It's a cool thing for these kids. I mean, there'll be a large portion of our players that have never been on a plane before. Some of the freshmen that are coming in.
Yeah, I mean that is huge. We first and foremost an NFL show, coach, is as I'm sure it might have been explained. Ben is our resident college expert, of course, so he's going to drill down a bit more in the weeds and the detail in terms of your season ahead. Before I hand the reins over to him for a few, just on that international expansion, it's something covering NFL for almost 20 years in this country, which coincides with the international series. It's been a game changer year on year on year. We now have 3-4 games a season. The growth of the NFL and in turn the love of American football in this country has been significant, but not just from a fan's perspective, from a player's perspective as well. There are more and more and more generationally kids playing, wanted to play, the NFL Academy, more and more kids from the UK, from Ireland, heading over to college to play. Is that something that you've got on your mind? We asked about recruitment within the state just a few moments ago, but just in terms of the potential, unlocking the potential of American football as a global sport, what that will do for the game and the talent you'll be able to choose.
Yeah, it is. It really has become a global sport in the last 20 years. I think the NFL's done an outstanding job of marketing their brand, worldwide, and putting their product into places that might not know a lot about football, and creating a following. The thing we've got to do a better job, we've got to continue to educate people about the game, right? And one of the cool things when we were a couple months ago when we were in Dublin was, we went to the rugby match, and just the education they gave us about the game of rugby that I was given, beforehand. Like, otherwise, I would not have really known what was taking place out there. I mean, it's a scrum. I don't know like what the rules are, but
had you seen it? Is it the first time you watch rugby?
Oh yeah.
What?
Oh yeah. But even like the headset that they gave us the headsets.
Yeah, yeah.
You hear the live action going on the field, and the whistles and the grunts and the talk. Like that was a great way to bring someone in that's never experienced the game of rugby, and create a following. And we've got to continue to do that in the game of football and educate, because I think there were a few pints that were drank in the
surely not. That wasn't a business trip. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm saying from other people, and they were talking about rugby versus football, and people they love a game and a sport, right? And they're hell bent on that's the best product there is. And I was just thinking, as I was going through those conversations, we got to continue to educate people about the game of football and what it is and how it is, and why there are smaller guys and bigger guys and what they do at each position. So.
I bet you'd have, coach, obviously as a lineman, you'd have fancied getting involved in a bit of rugby back in the day in the pack.
I'd like to think so, but those guys are big, strong. I mean, they're brutal.
Yeah. Betty.
Yeah. So I was thinking about the way that Georgia Tech have improved since you've been head coach. They had a tough couple of years after moving on from the triple option. It was a transition. It looks like you've got the program heading in the right direction now. You've developed a knack of beating ranked teams. So looking at this season, what will you consider to be a successful season? Is it ending the season ranked, winning the division, winning the conference, and making the playoff? Obviously, your goal each week is to win every single game, and the goal is to go undefeated. But at the end of the year, when you look back, what would you consider to be a success?
That's a question that I'm asked a lot about. What do I consider success? What are the expectations I have on the season? And when you live in this world, that to be where your feet are and to prepare every day the best you can be, right? It really is not a way to define success in a numbers. I would never say a certain amount of wins. Well, that means I'm saying a certain amount of losses. Right? Our job every day is to take the players we have, the team we have, right? And what I define as a successful season is our guys to be able to maximize who they are individually, who they are collectively as a team, right? Prepare each day heading up to the season, and go out and play every single game to the best of their ability, the absolute best of their ability for 4 quarters until the clock says zero on. Right? If we do that with the resources we've been given, with the amount of infrastructure that's in place, if we're able to do those things, right, and play to the best of our ability, right, and play the game the way it's supposed to be played, we'll be successful, right? That's what my expectation is, right? We don't look at the scoreboard until it says zero on it, right? That's who we are. That's the program that I'm a part of for 25 years. That's what we've been building here at Georgia Tech. So to live in that world, I can't turn around and put a numerical, expectation out there or definition of success, because success is an everyday journey for us.
With this program you're building, you've been reasonably active in the transfer portal. First off, I want to know how you feel about the transfer portal, because I know it does divide coaches. So right there in the ACC with you, you've got 2 high-profile coaches who approached it quite differently. Mike Norvell, very active at FSU. Clemson's Dabo Sweeney seems to want nothing to do with the transfer portal. How do you approach it? Do you feel that, okay, here's a great chance to add some extra players, or is it just a necessary evil?
No, I mean, it's college football. I mean, it's for me to complain about something that is part of our game. I'm wasting time preparing to be, being able to utilize it the right way. So look, Dabo and Mike are both really good men, good coaches. They have different philosophies on that, but I don't really worry about either one of those. I mean, my job is to do what's best for Georgia Tech. I mean, we're an independent, functioning organization, independent of any of those schools, right? So do I look at other, teams or programs that have utilized different things and just try to gain a little bit of knowledge about it? Yeah, I do, but I got to do what's best for Georgia Tech. I'm building this team and to build a foundation for long-term success. I firmly believe to do that, you have to build, starting out through the high school ranks, through high school recruiting, with the addition of the transfer portal. I mean, transfers have always been allowed. They had to sit a year, and it was a one-time deal. Well, now, the way it works, all right, it allows us to supplement when we're needed. I look at it very similar to the NFL. The NFL builds their team either one of 2 ways: through the draft and supplement free agency, or full bore through free agency. All right. The teams I've modeled our program after, NFL wise, one right now is really the Detroit Lions, the 49ers, the Chiefs, the Eagles, I mean, the Patriots for so many years, where they did such a great job in the draft to build the foundation of their program, and then really supplemented it free agent wise. And that's what I want to be able to do here. That's what we're in the process of doing, so that we can build a sustainable long-term product.
Yeah.
When you're bringing those players in, either high school or transfer portal guys, how does NIL now figure into the decision making for those players? And so for the listeners who aren't as familiar, NIL, name, image, and likeness, it allows college football players to make money off their name and likeness, which they were not able to do before. And to me, I'm kind of split on this, Coach. So I'm interested in your specific perspective for the city of Atlanta, which is one of America's great cities. What a place to be. So does being in Atlanta give those players more NIL opportunities because of its size and scope, or does it get overshadowed a bit by all the pro teams in the city?
No, Atlanta's a massive city that has so much opportunity for these young people. I've been very vocal and out front of being a proponent of NIL for many years. Being a former college athlete, these guys really work extremely hard. They do a lot for this great school that we have. So I think they should be able to reap the benefits of who they are, right? Of the exposure that they've created for themselves, and that's what it's about. We also use NIL for. I mean, it's not just what people think. Oh, they're just going to pay a college player. I mean, there's so many other things. I mean, ours are tied into community service here in Atlanta, where we take 35 guys down to a part of the city, and have giant picnics, and allow be able to get mix and mingle and get in with the young people in the city of Atlanta. We allow, a big portion of our NIL is to help, with housing and where our guys live and the type of place they live in. So there's so many benefits to it. And I think it's an outstanding thing for college football. Everyone's got to get on the same page of the management of it, of how we individually by school manage it so that there's parity in college football. But I think it's great for the guys to have this opportunity, and the city of Atlanta provides so much more just because of the dense availability of company. There's 16 Fortune 500 companies within a 5-mile radius of our campus, and that's really unheard of any other school.
So just on that, Coach, it's interesting thinking about Atlanta specifically. I was out at the Super Bowl. What was it? 5, 6 years ago, and a really old
2019.
Yeah, that's right. And
Patriots and Rams.
Patriots Ram, not a great game, but a great city.
I was there. I
was
there. They opened up the roof right beforehand. Belichick went out and was complaining about the wind on the kickoff and all that. Yeah.
I mean, a defensive masterclass. If you're a defensive purist, you love. I mean, Belichick was a blinding game plan on both sides, actually. But not a thriller. I think it's fair to say. But
it was unbelievable. How about when Gronk caught that corner route right going down the left sideline? I mean, there was a play action. They'd set it up 3 plays previously, ended up scoring 2 plays later.
Game, and Goff had the shot, didn't he? You see those quarterbacks that get so close, and then it's that moment you see Garoppolo in that situation as well. Arguably Brock Purdy in the most recent Super Bowl. That the fine margins, right? Fine margins. But I mentioned it because we were out there all week covering the game, and one of my old mates is a football soccer producer and worked on a show over here and moved his family. He works for CNN, so moved his family to Atlanta. And he was telling me all about the Atlanta MLS team and the season tickets they'd sold. I think 60,000 that season of season tickets, and just the rise, obviously the rise of soccer across America, but in Atlanta specifically. Is that something that is potentially a challenge that you're going to have other sports coming in, much like you'll get the international growth and more talent coming your way? At the same time, there are going to be kids that are going to get their heads turned by different sports potentially and never go on that journey to be considered a prospect for college football because they were taken by soccer or a different sport early on. Do you think about that at all?
No, not at all. I mean, I love the fact that soccer is here in Atlanta. The Atlanta United are wonderful franchise. I mean, they've done a lot to revitalize the downtown area and bring people in. I mean, you go on a given Saturday, Sunday when they're playing, and there's flags and banners everywhere. There's life downtown. It's a fun time. It really is. The games are fun to go to. I think they did an unbelievable job building that stadium to be able to be a football and soccer or American football and soccer stadium. Will house both of them. I think soccer is a great sport for young people. I mean, for young kids, it's just to build their hand, their coordination, their being able to run, the cardiovascular, getting kids outside, not playing video games inside all day long. Soccer's a wonderful sport. Wonderful sport. I love it. I love watching it.
Do you follow it at all? Do you have a team?
Besides the United.
Besides, like we got a Premier League team. We need to get you a team, Coach, if you haven't got
one. Okay, so I watch it when it's on.
Yeah,
I don't know much more. I don't know from Manchester to whoever. I don't. So in the middle there, I know about the United because they're right down the street.
Yeah.
But how about that? I will return the favor with American football if you guys can put me on the right team, Premier League.
Done deal. I mean, it sounds like you're going to be busy when you're over in Dublin. And as we've established earlier on, it is strictly business. But when you get the win, I'm going to grab you after that, and we'll pick a team for you. I feel
who are you going to pick?
I feel Benny. What are you saying? I thought he's going to kill me for saying it because I think it could be West Ham.
I knew you were going to say that. No, he
Coach.
Deserves better than that. Coach Key, you do not deserve that. I think we need to find a real kind of rough and tumble blue collar team.
Tough.
No.
A tough physical team.
The East End of London, Coach.
This isn't Upton Park anymore. No,
Does Birmingham have a team?
Yeah, Birmingham. Brady's bought into it.
Birmingham's got two teams.
I'm from Birmingham.
Perfect.
It's perfect because Birmingham is a good fit, I think, for.
But Coach Key, Coach Key, there are two main teams in Birmingham, and they are quite far apart in terms of the football pyramid right now. One of them will be in the Champions League next season. That's Aston Villa. And one of them has just got relegated to the third tier of English football. That's Birmingham City. So maybe you can be the first person to support both teams.
No,
as long as you don't tell people that.
Birmingham, from the little time we spent with Coach Key, I can lock it in that he's going to want Birmingham over Villa in terms of team.
I've got visions, Coach, of you in a couple of years' time in an executive box at Birmingham City's new stadium. You and Tom Brady sat there watching a game, and you thinking, "Yeah, maybe I'm going to buy into this team. Maybe that's the next investment." But yeah,
always looking.
Yeah. I love it. We'll have to grab a Birmingham jersey for Coach, and we'll bring it out to Dublin for the game. That's
a good idea.
We will get that locked in. Coach, one more for you, because we appreciate your time, and one for the road here. One of our co-hosts on the show, is Mike Carlson, also known as I Am Mike, loves a bit of karaoke. I was once. We covered a game in New Orleans, a Monday Night Football game live, and we might have found our way onto Bourbon Street at the early hours of the morning. And he gave a fine rendition of Mustang Sally at the time, which is on tape as well, Coach. So I'm sure, again, we'll share that with you when we're in Dublin. With Pat McAfee and the ESPN crew coming out, the game day crew coming out, Carlson is trying to get hold of McAfee. We might do an interview. There might be karaoke involved. It could all go up. Can I hold you to a promise right now? If Georgia Tech wins the game in Dublin, and the stars align, and you're in the vicinity, and we've got Iron Mike and Pat McAfee on stage singing karaoke, can we grab you as well for that magic moment?
Who picks the song, me or you?
Fair point. I mean, I'm happy to defer to you, Coach, to be honest, for if you want to. What would be your go-to karaoke?
I got a couple of months to figure it out, so probably Jimmy Buffett. Well, it's the summer right now, so it's beach time, right? Jimmy Buffett, some country, maybe some old rock.
Nice.
How about some Motley Crue?
Oh, yeah, I'm all in on the Crew.
You're speaking his language now, Coach.
All in on the Crew. A bit of Rattlesnake Shake. We could go down. We could go girls, girls, girls. I don't know how appropriate that would be in 2024. We can find the right Motley Crue to do. That is a done deal. I'm looking to lock that in, and maybe a pint of Guinness or two along the way. Coach, it has been an absolute pleasure. We really appreciate your time and appreciate Georgia Tech, everything you're doing there, and bringing the team over. We cannot wait. The excitement is building all across the UK and Ireland. So we're really looking forward to seeing you in August.
It's pretty cool too. A lot of the people that are the fans that are coming to the game, some of them are going to London first, and they're spending a couple of days there, and they're coming down to Dublin, or they're going different cities in Europe. Just the experience for the fans, the Georgia Tech fans coming over. What a great experience, and really appreciate everyone involved. Everyone that's gone to put this game on, people that have gone to publicize it and do these things. Much thanks from here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Back at you, Coach. It's been great to chat to you, and we'll see you in a couple of months.
Appreciate it, guys. Go Jackets.
Thanks, Coach.